Need a few ingredients like a vessel, some glue, some paper. I'm using this white recycled tissue paper that I saved from my work, and some flour or starch. I added the paper to the bucket and then added water. Use room temperature or cold water. I'm just using the kettle as a vessel. You want to remove your jewelry. I forgot to do that beforehand. Then I just added the rest of the paper and some more water, breaking it up with my fingers. Some people use blenders for this step to break up the paper, but I didn't find it necessary. Then, once all the paper was broken up and evenly dispersed throughout the water, I grabbed a piece of fabric and drained all the water out. I had this bag just lying around, which worked perfectly. Empty off the water responsibly. You want the paper to be pretty dry at this stage, but obviously still damp. Then I added equal parts flour, in my case tapioca starch, and PVA glue. I also had a little bit of rice glue on hand, so I added that in as well. There's so many recipes and ratios out there, so just play around and see what you like. But I think the general consensus is about 4 parts paper to 1 part flour and 1 part glue. But I was just going by feel. I mixed the starch to this consistency before adding the paper. And then I added some PVA. And then it was nice and moldable and ready to sculpt. I turned this batch of paper clay into an incense holder. Because the paper that I used happened to be bleach white, it gave the paper clay a soft blue hue. This paper clay was super durable. It was super tough once it dried. It took about 2 or 3 days to dry properly, maybe even a week if I'm honest. But once it was completely bone dry, it was super solid, like a frisbee. You can use this technique for pot plants. It does hold water, and depending on what ratios of starch and glue you use, it will be more durable against water. There are ways to make the paper clay completely flat with several techniques like paper mache and also sanding. I added a hole for the stick incense and then I covered it all in a layer of PVA glue. This gave it a really nice glossy finish and it dried satin. I chucked it on a nice piece of cardboard that it wasn't going to get too stuck to. And then we're done. The incense holder is a spiral shape and it has a space